thing. And good evening once again. It's Wednesday night. It must be another episode of at HC Highlanders Live. I'm Jason Muker, Associate AD here at Houghton, joined by our AD, Matthew Webb. This is our show where we kind of tell you about our department, what's going on, keep you up to speed on what's going on and news. Typically, we'll share scores with you and athlete updates, but not a lot of that happening this fall due to COVID. Still hopeful and holding out hope for a very busy spring with all of our teams planning to be in action, and that's where we stand right now. That's the hope, and that's the anticipation. And some good news today in the last couple of days. Some D3 conferences actually saying, "Hey, we're planning on having our winter and fall and spring seasons," and they're giving like mid to late January start dates. And I mean, it was a little disappointing the last few weeks with some schools, and even on the Division I level, the Ivy League saying, "Hey, we're done with our winter. We're not going to have any winter sports, even the spring." But some Division III schools conferences coming out and saying, "Hey, it's too early to tell, and right now we're gonna plan on competing," and that's where we are in the Empire 8 right now. Some news hopefully coming out in the next couple of weeks to solidify that. But our semester on campus is wrapping up. We've got another week of students on campus. Then they go home for Thanksgiving and go virtual for the rest of the semester. That was a plan all along. A lot of schools across the country are doing that, and that's our plan. Men's basketball is wrapping up this week. They've been having some inter-squad scrimmages. They're our final team, I believe, in action right now, and other teams had some great fall practices and participation during the fall segment, and anticipating a return in the spring when that happens and get back into practices and hopefully some more games. We have a special guest tonight that Matt will introduce, and I'll let him take over from now.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. And like Jason said, we're wrapping up the semester here. Men's and women's basketball are just finishing up this week, and continue to have no positive cases at Houghton, which is pretty miraculous when you think about what's happening around the rest of the country, and most colleges and universities have had some. When we think about playing in the spring and what that might look like, one of the things that I'm encouraged by as information continues to come out almost daily from the NCAA and a variety of sources, but one of the statistics and bits of information that's really encouraging regarding athletics is that of all the positive cases that have been contracted amongst NCAA student athletes and coaches, none of them have yet been traced back to the athletic activity as being the context of where it where it was contracted, so practice or a game or anything. So anything that's been contracted amongst the athletes has been outside of the athletic sort of environment. So in residence hall life or at a meal or going home and social gatherings, which we all know is that's where things are contracted mostly. So that speaks positively for what athletics can be. One of the other encouraging things is the NCAA just came out with some new guidelines late last week, and for a number of sports, they recategorized some sports based on just some information and evidence of what's happened this fall. And so a number of our sports that we sponsor, outdoor sports like men's and women's soccer, field hockey, men's and women's lacrosse, had been categorized as high-risk sports. They've now been bumped down to intermediate risk sports. And that's important given that what the testing implications are going to be for participating in those sports moving forward. It makes it much more doable to conduct those sports. And so actually the only remaining high-risk sport that we still have is men's and women's basketball. And part of that's because it's indoors, and part of that is because of just the amount of contact there. Actually, volleyball, and maybe this is something we can talk about with our guest tonight, volleyball's categorization is pretty unique. Volleyball and fencing are the only NCAA sanctioned sports that can be categorized as either high risk or intermediate risk. And it's all dependent on whether or not you wear masks when you can compete. And those are the only two sports that are sort of given that distinction of being high or intermediate risk, or being in one category or another. So anyhow, we continue to be really proud of our students. It's been a hard semester. It's been challenging, but Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and all of our students are going to be headed home really after this weekend, next Monday, Tuesday. So, and tonight, it's my pleasure to introduce our guest, Holly Motheral. Holly is the current head volleyball coach, women's volleyball coach at Messiah University. Actually, seems odd to say university. I grew up in central Pennsylvania, and I'm Messiah College is what I'm familiar with, but it's Messiah University. And Holly is a 2010 graduate from Houghton, played volleyball here for Coach Cole. And I'm pretty sure Coach Cole is watching tonight. I made sure she knew that this was happening. So I'm sure she's watching. And if she's on Facebook, she might even be making some comments. We'll see. But so just want to welcome Holly, and thanks for being with us tonight. And maybe just I sort of, rambled, Jason and I rambled on a little bit about what it's been like at Houghton this fall. Maybe just give us a glimpse of, what Messiah has been able to do this fall in terms of practice and what practices look like, and what your thoughts and plans are moving into the spring. Probably somewhat unknown, like many of us, but what's it been like this fall for you at Messiah?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, Coach Webb. So at Messiah, it's been probably similar to Houghton. We started with like a phased approach. So everyone started in phase 1 with pods. So we were in groups of no more than 10, could only practice for about like 45 minutes. And that was for the first 2 weeks. Being indoors, we had to wear a mask the entire time. And no shared equipment for phase 1. So no volleyball at all. So we did a lot of conditioning. Phase 2, we did that on week 3. We started. That was everyone together, no live play. So no blockers and hitters at the net against each other, but we could do more drills and then transition into our phase 3, which was live play. So most teams here at Messiah were successful getting to phase 3. Some of our teams, including ours, had some quarantine periods where we had a player test positive and got shut down for about 2 weeks. And then we jumped back right into phase 3 because we all came back with 2 negative tests. So we knew we were good to go. Most teams were able to have an inter-squad scrimmage that was live streamed. Actually, I think our swim team's the only one left, and they're doing that this weekend. So that was fun for parents to watch, but no outside competition until 2021. As of now, nothing's been set for the conference. I know Messiah is really pushing to do something. So we're hoping we can have some sort of conference season for all fall, winter, spring sports in the spring. I think that decision will be made, or hopefully by, at least a plan before Thanksgiving. But everything keeps changing. Pennsylvania's just had some new mandates that start tomorrow as far as like gatherings and traveling and testing. So it looks like it's getting a little tighter right now for the holidays. So hopefully things can open back up in the spring. But we've had cases on campus, but nothing, as far as I've heard, like no hospitalizations, nothing serious.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting people in quarantine and contact tracing, stuff like that. But we're very grateful we've been able to be on campus the entire semester. So that's been good.
Yeah, sounds like you're in the exact same place we are in terms of sort of awaiting conference decisions and then how to schedule appropriately moving forward. The new regulations for Pennsylvania kick in, I think, on Friday, and that has impacted a lot of our students. We've got quite a few students from Pennsylvania, so actually some of our students are heading home today and tomorrow.
Yeah,
to get home before the new regulations go into play. And it's also impacted recruits who were planning to visit Houghton, who now can't come up because I suppose they could come up given New York's rules, but they couldn't go home easily. It would require them to go back to Pennsylvania. So it's definitely impacted things. And recruiting, one of my coaches was going to Pennsylvania next week or this weekend to recruit, and now won't be going down there. So in any case, well, Holly, why don't you give us a little chronological journey of where you're coaching at Messiah now, but how have you gotten to this point? And maybe we can backtrack all the way back to growing up in Canada and how you ended up at Houghton. How in the world did you end up at Houghton? And then maybe walk us through where you've gone and how you've ended up where you're at now at Messiah.
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to pursue some sort of sport in college, whether that was I was getting recruited for basketball in Canada. So whether that was staying home and playing basketball at a university there or coming to Houghton, Nancy was recruiting me. I actually heard of Houghton through the Hutton family. I know Heather did cross country, I believe, and Alistair and Andrew both were students and bagpipers. So I went to elementary school and high school with the Huttons. And so they're the ones who told my family about Houghton. So I visited, met with coach, went to camp the following summer. She actually came to Canada for one of my matches. We went out to pizza afterwards. It was a great time. And so I just knew it was really good for me to be in a Christian environment, just because I tended to be one who followed a crowd. And I knew if I had stayed in Canada and went to a big school, I just would have got lost. So I knew it was important for me to be in a Christian environment and a place that at the time offered athletic scholarships. So it helped financially. And I eventually had the opportunity of playing volleyball and basketball, which was a huge opportunity for me to be able to do both at the college level. So yeah, I ended up at Houghton, had a great experience there, lifelong friends for sure. Nancy Cole is dear to my heart. Just like loved the community, loved, even though it's like in the middle of nowhere, I felt like there were always stuff for us to do as students, like midnight dodgeball tournaments. I remember DJing those on the track, like spot, like I think sophomore years and dancing got passed. So we had a square dance, such good times. So when I graduated from Houghton, I knew I wanted to I did physical education was my major. I mean, you taught me some of my courses. And so I knew I either wanted to teach or coach. And so I got a graduate assistant opportunity at Rio Grande in Ohio, which was actually in Houghton's conference NAI school. And actually, fun fact, our senior year, Rio swept us at home on senior night. And I had to go coach those girls the next year. Not a great time. No, it was good. So I ended up at Rio Grande. I was there for 2 years as a GA. After that, I was an assistant for like 10 months at a school in North Carolina called Montreat. And then I was given an opportunity that spring to start a head coaching career at Taylor University in Indiana. So I was always with NAIA programs. That's what I knew. That's how I played when Houghton was NAIA, and I just loved the Champions of Character speech and that opportunity to recruit with scholarship. And then after my third season at Taylor, I just felt really stuck spiritually and socially. It was a great starting point for my coaching career, but it just was in an environment that I was like struggling to get connected. And so I was actually considering moving home. And I think it was my mom who sent me the posting for Messiah looking for a head coach. And so I knew my best friend from college, Lenore Keller now, but Lenore Bassett. She had just moved to like Lancaster area. Her husband's a vet here. I knew like my college roommate, the Brubakers, Bree Brubaker, Hornbaker now is in the area. So I knew I had connections there already established. So I came out and interviewed and eventually was offered the position and just felt like God was leading me into into a space where I could not only do what I love, coaching at a Christian college, but also getting connected more in a community. So yeah, that's kind of how I ended up here. It's been a wild 10 years since I graduated college. It's been a wild journey, but so grateful for sure.
No, it just seems like yesterday that you were here running our intramural program and your high energy in Nielsen. Never forget that. And Messiah, I'm real familiar with Messiah. That's where I grew up essentially. And so it's a great place. It's a great institution. Obviously a lot of athletic sort of history and tradition in a number of programs there. And so I'm sure they're glad to have you too, as I actually hear that from people. So that's great. So what's the ice cream place that's in Upland, Indiana?
Ivanhoe's.
So Ivanhoe's wasn't enough to keep you there, huh?
You know, the strawberry shortcake, man, almost kept me, but no, it was a good starting point for my career for sure.
Well, you know, as we were talking earlier before the show started, there's a number of Houghton and Messiah very current connections. Our head cross country track and field coach is a Messiah alum, Pat Hager, his grad assistant, who's actually in the grad program at Messiah. Taylor Wiederecht is here. Our new women's soccer, well, not new, I guess a year and a half ago, but Nikki Elsasser, who you worked with, I think.
Oh, yeah, one of my best friends.
Nikki's doing great. And what's the other Messiah connection? Oh, our head baseball coach, Brian Reitnauer, is a Messiah alum. My brother went to Messiah. I grew up at Messiah. I feel like we're missing some, but
I think there's is there a lacrosse or an athletic trainer?
oh, yeah, well, yeah, right, too. So our assistant men's lacrosse coach, Andrew Butler, Messiah alum, one of our athletic trainers, Dan Chapman, a Messiah alum. So we're just, we're stealing all your graduates to.
I like walking though. There's me, and then there's Chad Muse and Doug Wood.
Chad's back in admission, right?
Yep, he's working in admissions, assistant baseball coach.
That's right. And Matt Reitnauer is in, I think, the graduate school admission. So there's some Houghton people down there too. So it's a good, it's a really good relationship we have with Messiah. So, well, Holly, I want to do a little game with you tonight. This is something new.
All right.
And for those who are watching, Holly doesn't know what I'm going to be asking her here. And so we're going for like quick response.
Okay.
You've got to give us the first thing that comes to mind. Some of them will be just a one-word answer. Some of them will be, you'll probably have to elaborate a little bit, but then maybe we'll chase some of these answers a little bit later to get a little more information. So, favorite volleyball memory from Houghton College?
Man, it's hard to like pick a specific game, but definitely like dancing in the locker room before any home match. Like just like going crazy. We got a new sound system up there, and we were just like, we were not great dancers, but we would kill it.
Was this before or after the dancing rule was passed?
No.
Dancing in the locker room. All right. Second question. The best intramural director boss you ever had?
There's that one guy. Yeah. Matthew Webb.
I was her boss in college at Houghton, so that question doesn't really count. Favorite thing about being a volleyball coach?
Oh, just like the relationships I get to have with my players, and just being able to hear their stories and see them succeed in all areas of life.
For sure. Favorite gym to play in?
Ooh, like as a player or a coach?
Or coach. Favorite gym you've ever competed in?
Oh, Hitchcock Arena here.
Hitchcock Arena. That's Messiah, right?
Yeah.
All right. This is a big important one, Holly. National anthem, U.S. or Canadian?
Canada all the way. Let's go.
I agree. I think that's an awesome
So much
song.
better. So much
Awesome.
easier to sing too.
All right. This one might be the most important of them all. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
You a coffee drinker? Boom. Right answer.
Starbucks.
Next one. Trump or Biden? No, I'm just kidding. Don't answer that. Don't answer that out loud. That one was the inappropriate one. We're not answering that one. Last one. This will show your true colors. Purple and gold or blue and white?
Purple and white.
Purple and white. All right. You're wearing Messiah stuff.
I'm
That's
wearing
good.
black right now, so I'm guessing.
You're wearing black, so that works too. That works too.
Yeah.
So you can wear blue and white. We want you to bleed purple and gold.
That's right.
So underneath. So very, very good. So Hitchcock Arena, why is it so great to compete in Hitchcock?
Yeah, so after my first season here, we used to be in Brubaker Auditorium, which was the main gym at Messiah for years, and they renovated our rec gym. Similar layout to Nielsen Center. Like there's like 4 basketball courts, and then they added bleachers, and they added like a horseshoe. So it has more of like an arena feel. They put a drop-down clock, a video board. Our director of athletic communications, Matt Fenton, is a genius. And just the graphics and the production they do for all of our games, like outstanding. And for every sport, they just put so much effort into it. And so it's fun. We played Calvin last year, Calvin University there, or Calvin College. I'm not sure which.
Mm-hmm.
We were second in the nation, and we hosted them. And it was, we lost in 3. But set 2, it was like 27-25, and it was so loud in there. It's just like a great atmosphere.
So is old Brubaker now? Does basketball play in Hitchcock then too?
Yeah, all indoor sports are in Hitchcock. Brubaker is currently a classroom and extra seating for meals, But in a normal year, it's just not like a gym for us to use when we're practicing, and chapel. They use it for chapel.
Right. Yeah. I knew chapel was in there. Still is in there. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, when did you start drinking coffee?
Age of 4. So funny story. My parents, God bless them. I would wake up in the middle of the night, not tired, and I would just like be like, I want cereal, I want cartoons. And they're like, it's 3 o'clock, go back to bed. So my mom started giving me a little bit of coffee in the afternoons so I wouldn't nap, and then I'd sleep all night. So it continued through elementary school. My kindergarten teacher would give me a little coffee, and I wouldn't take a nap. With the rest of the students, I'd stay awake, and then I'd sleep all the night, all the way through. So now I'm a little bit of an addict, probably have 4 cups a day.
That's about average. That's what you need to get through the day. Yeah. Very, very good. Favorite place to get coffee in the Grantham Central PA area?
Yeah, so there's no Tim Hortons, which is really sad. So if anyone wants to open a franchise, I will be there every day. But currently, probably the Cracked Pot. It's a local, small. It's only open till like 2 in the afternoon. But it would be the place of choice if I have time. If not, I'll just go through Dunkin' Donuts drive-through because it's right by my house.
Well, as you know, in Houghton, we don't really have a coffee shop, and to go drive to get some is inconvenient. So my coffee of choice is our Caribou blend that we get delivered to us monthly. And that's a Minnesota place. And then my daughter got me a Keurig a couple years ago for Christmas. So in my office, I have my own Keurig that I'm constantly brewing coffee. So very, very good. So Holly, what do you miss most about Houghton?
Ooh, what do I miss most about Houghton? Like, I miss just like the friendships. Like, I just felt like we were really close knit as a team, and we also were close with other teams. Like, I know like your guys, Brian Gerlach and Dan Brubaker, and like all those guys we were so close with. Like, I miss those relationships and those connections.
Brian Gerlach is moving back to Central PA.
Lancaster.
You know yeah, with
I get their newsletter. So
what's the organization he's with?
International.
Hope International, which the president of that organization, I don't know if you know who that is, Pete Greer.
Yeah,
one here in Real Small World.
His sister's office is next to me.
Oh, she's the lacrosse coach. Well, Pete Greer was my brother's roommate in college.
No way.
Yep.
Small world.
Oh, very small world.
Guys right there.
What's that?
2 great guys right there doing big things.
Exactly. Yeah. So, Dan Brubaker's obviously, and his sister Bree, you mentioned earlier. Dan's up in the Rochester area, and haven't seen him in a few years, but it's always good to see those guys. Well, Holly, thanks for spending time with us today. It's short and sweet. We've just been in about just under 25 minutes, but super good to catch up with you. One of these days when our volleyball team is taking a trip down to Messiah, I'm going to jump on the bus and come down, see you coach, or you guys got to head up here at some point too. I think you know our new coach, Josh Thompson, probably through Keith and stuff.
Yep.
So, looking forward to that happening at some time, but thanks for joining us. It's super good to catch up. And
thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's good to see you.
You bet. Yep. Well, take care, Holly. Thanks.
Thanks.